Good day, students. This is Miss Michelle Joy, and welcome to our online learning discussion for week 3. Please do not forget to watch the entire video from the start until the end, because at the end of the video, I have a very important announcement to make, so please do not miss that one. Thank you so much. So before we start with our online learning discussion for week 3, I'm going to have a simple and mini review or recap about our topics last week. So last week, we have discussed about grid, compass, latitude, and longitude. So let's go to our discussion proper now. So class, our subject is of course social studies, and this week's topics are the following: geographical devices, GPS, and GIS. So these are the words that we will be encountering in our next slide. Class, you can always repeat after me so you can still practice your speaking skills and your reading skills even if you're just studying at home in front of your computer or laptops or even your mobile phones. So let's start reading now. Letter A, devices. Letter B, instrument. Letter C, barometer. Letter D, planimeter. Letter E, theodolite. Letter F, satellite. Letter G, information. Letter H, capture. Letter I, manipulate. And letter J, manage. Now class, if there are words that you do not understand in this given vocabulary, you can always open your dictionary, write them down so that you can understand the words better, so you can understand our topic better. So class, the first topic that we will be discussing are the 10 geographical devices. So we have here 10 geographical devices and we are going to read them one by one. So at the left side of the monitor, you can see the image of that certain geographical device. So let's start now. Number 1, we have planimeter. What is a planimeter? Is a tabletop instrument used to measure areas of irregular regions on a map or photograph. So we have here, this one is an image of a planimeter and how it looks like. Number 2, we have here the image of theodolite. Okay, so let's read what theodolite is. It is a surveying instrument with a rotating telescope for measuring horizontal and vertical angles. So we see here the rotating telescope. So that is what a theodolite looks like. So let's proceed to the next devices. Class number 3 is stereoscope. So this is what a stereoscope looks like, that one, okay? So you see here on the monitor on the left side is a girl sitting down looking for something, and the instrument that she is using is called a stereoscope. So what is a stereoscope? So stereoscope is a viewing device which allows users to create a three-dimensional image from a set of two-dimensional photographs or drawings. Now, let's go to number 4, which is pantograph. So this is what a pantograph looks like. So you can see the image here in the left side of our monitor. So pantograph is an instrument for magnifying or copying a drawing, map, or a plan on a different scale by a system of hinged and jointed rods. So class, the next geographical device that we will be reading is an aerovane. So this is what an aerovane looks like on the left side of the monitor. So aerovane indicates both the wind direction and wind speed or the wind velocity. It is shaped like an airplane. So as you can see here on the image here. Now let's go to number 6, which is a thermometer. Thermometer is very common because we use this to measure temperature, especially when we are feeling hot. Okay, so thermometer is used to measure temperature. Next, number 7, we have rain gauge. So what is rain gauge? Is a device for collecting and measuring the amount of rainfall. Now class, let's go to number 8 geographical devices out of 10 that we are discussing right now. So number 8 is a barometer. So this is what a barometer looks like at the left side of your monitor. Barometer is an instrument used to measure atmospheric pressure, especially in forecasting the weather and determining altitude. Now, there are two types of barometer class. So we have here letter A, aneroid barometer, and we have here letter B, which is mercury barometer. So this is what an aneroid barometer looks like. So you can see here at the left side of the monitor. So this is what an aneroid barometer looks like. So it is an instrument used for measuring pressure as a method that does not involve liquid. And how about mercury barometer? It is a barometer with a column of mercury whose height varies according to the atmospheric pressure. So in short class, aneroid barometer, it does not have a mercury or a liquid, while mercury barometer is a kind of barometer which uses a mercury. So class, we are now down to the last two geographical devices that we are studying. So number 9 is psychrometer. What is psychrometer? So this is a psychrometer looks like class in the left side of the monitor. We have here also the dry bulb thermometer, thermometers here, and this here wick. Okay, so it tells us the uses of this following part of a psychrometer. Okay, so a psychrometer is a hygrometer consisting of a wet bulb and a dry bulb thermometer. The difference in the two thermometer readings being used to determine atmospheric humidity. And the last one we have here, wet and dry bulb thermometer. So we have here the wet bulb thermometer. What is wet and dry bulb thermometer? Is also a hygrometer, which is simply an instrument used to measure the relative humidity of the atmosphere. Okay, class. So these are the 10 geographical devices that we have. So class, These 10 geographical devices are in your book. You can highlight them if you want because we always highlight it anyway whenever we read it. So you can just highlight it because it means these are important words that you have to know because it might be included in your exams. Okay? How are GIS and GPS critical components to the study of human geography? What is GPS? GPS, or Global Positioning System, is a system that determines the precise location of something on Earth by receiving data from satellites and other sources. Uses: GPS is most commonly used in cellular phone apps for directions to specific locations. It is also used for tracking vehicles, packages, and people. What is GIS? GIS, or Geographic Information Science, is a computer system that captures, stores, queries, analyzes, and displays geographic data. Uses: GIS is used to make maps electronically through remote sensing, which is receiving data from a satellite in orbit. Each piece of data is layered to complete a map. Importance of GIS and GPS. GIS and GPS are important components to human geography because of their contribution to modern map making. They also help with navigation, travel, and pinpointing a specific location. So class, let us continue with our second topic for this discussion of week 3, which is Global Positioning System, or we all know as GPS. So what is GPS? So, the Global Positioning, or GPS, is a satellite-based navigation system made up of a network of satellites placed into orbit by the U.S. Department of Defense. So GPS was originally intended for military applications, but in the 1980s, the government made the system available for civilian use. When we say civilian use, all people can use, not only the people working in the government. Okay? So GPS works in any weather conditions, anywhere in the world, 24 hours a day. So GPS is used as a device for locating a certain position or place. So GPS satellites circle the Earth twice a day in a very precise orbit and transmit signal information to Earth, like what we see now in the left side of the monitor. This is how GPS works, okay? So GPS receivers take this information and calculate the user's exact location. So with the distance measurements from a very few more satellites, the receiver can determine the user's position and display it on the unit's electronic map. So usually we use GPS in our mobile phones because it is very accessible. Okay, so let's continue with our discussion about GPS. So class, a GPS receiver must be logged on to the signal of at least 3 satellites to calculate a 2D position, latitude and longitude, and track movement. Once the user's position has been determined, GPS unit can calculate other information like speed, bearing, track, trip distance, and distance to destination. So this GPS device is very helpful for us to determine our speed, the bearing, the distance of a place where we are going from where we came from, and of course the distance of the destination. So on the left side of the monitor, we can see GPS satellites, how it transformed the information that it received. So in here, down the monitor on the left side, so we can see that a car is using a GPS, and on the right side we can see how a GPS transmit an information to a computer device. Now, class, we are now at the last part of our discussion, and the topic is about Geographic Information System, or GIS. So, what is a GIS? So, a Geographic Information System, or GIS, is a system designed to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, and present all types of geographical data. So, a GIS provides a software tool to map and analyze objects on Earth. So usually GIS is a device used by geographers class to examine a map. So class, there are key components of GIS. So a GIS constitutes of 5 key components, namely, so class, this one is in your book. You can always highlight them if you want to take note, okay? So number 1 here is documentation. Number 2, hardware. Number 3, software. Number 4, data. And the last one, users. So these 5 components need to be in balance to function any information system satisfactorily. So basically, class, GIS is not a common device used by ordinary people like us, because ordinary people like us use GPS because this is very accessible for us to use, because we can use GPS using our mobile phone devices. So class, we now come to the end of our topic for week 3. As you can see, week 3 is a bit longer than week 1 and week 2 online learning, because this is the last topic that I will be discussing with you before giving you the PA2 and before giving you the test, okay, for term 3, which is 30 points. And you will know later why this is the last topic, okay? So, the summary of our lesson for this week. Number 1, we have studied about geographical devices, and we have studied the 10 geographical devices. And then number 2, we have studied about global positioning system. And the last one, we have studied about geographic information system. And guys, if you do not understand something about this topic, you can always send me a message in our Google Classroom account, because as soon as I read it, I will reply to you. So class, this is the schedule for our PA and for our term 3 test. So I do not give you any activity for this week because I want you to focus on reading for your PA and reading for your term 3 test. So for your PA2, please read about Unit 10, which is Geographical Devices, and all Unit 10, okay? And then for what to read for term 3 test, please read 2 units, which are Unit 9, International Trade, and Unit 10, Geographical Devices. Now, when to do PA2 and Term 3 test? So, PA2 will be on January 25. That will be on Monday at 2 to 3 p.m. our schedule, okay? Social Studies schedule. You cannot do this in another time, okay? Now, class, note, remember, PA2 is 10 points only. So, it means 1 check is equals to 1 point. Because before, in our PA, I always give you 40 and then divided by 4 to make it 10. But because we are now studying online, what will I do is that I'm going to give you 10 questions. So, 1 question is equivalent to 1 point. So, if you get the 10 questions correctly, it means you get 10 points. So, passing score is 5 points to 10 points. And if you get 0 to 4 points, means you are going to have retest. Okay, for term 3 test, it will be on February 1, 2021, 2 weeks from now. That will be Monday, again in our social studies time, which is 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. Remember, term 3 test is 30 points. It means 1 check is equals to 1 point. It means I give you 30 questions for 30 points. So, passing score is 14.5 points to 30 points, and retest is 0 to 14.4 points. So our retest we have scheduled also, which is February 8. And again, this is social studies time, which is 2 to 3 p.m. Class, this is way easier for you than when we do it in our school. So please review, read what you have to read, because I have given you everything what you needed to know. So good luck, class, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Thank you very much. So class, thank you so much for staying with me for the entire video from the start until the end. Please do not forget to review what you need to read for your PA2 and for your Term 3 test. And please check on the schedule so you will know what to do. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I will see you again the soonest. Bye for now!